entered the building illegally. He pushed against and battered police officers trying to get into the room.
Taking the convo to high levels. Comment, like, and subscribe if you're enjoying Durable Minds Radio.
You know, and this man right here, he on one. He is on one. I appreciate that, peoples. He's on one over here, man. And we got to ask ourselves, man, is this important for the game? Is this important for the game, right? Over there in Port County, you know, the sheriff office, you know, Sheriff Judd, you know, he uses the aggressive, you know, law enforcement strategy, right? And what he's doing, you know what I'm saying, is, you know, they're doing their stings over there. They got their stings going on over there, right? And it doesn't matter who they, you know, get a case on. They're bringing it to the media. They're putting it on blast, right? They're making arrests and they're not keeping it on hush. They're calling the press, right? And not only are they calling the press, they're creating their own social medias. And within creating their own social medias, they're pushing that agenda that way, right? They're pushing that agenda that way. And I think the goal is, you know, embarrassment, right? To where embarrassment becomes part of, you know, the quote-unquote punishment, right? Now, within these stings, they're not necessarily catching gentlemen of the lifestyle, right? They're catching the tricks, right? They're catching those weirdos, you know what I'm saying? They're catching people that's in that HT world, right? They haven't really pushed out many, you know, of their in their little media area about the true gentleman of the lifestyle, right? So that's why, you know, the ones of the lifestyle would think this is something not important, right? But you got to look on the flip side of things, right? You have to look on the flip side of things when it comes to social media, right? While, you know how, you know, people say, okay, social media, because the game has changed because of the internet, right? You got to understand, when people push that out into the media, the police gets wind of that. So they will start trying to use it to their defense, right? They will start using it as a tactic for them. So that's why they will come out on the media, right, and push out these 266 arrests. That draws attention, right? If we was just to see like 12, you know, arrests or somebody, might, you know, scroll past that. But when they push out 266 arrests in the form of, they don't necessarily have to put the 16 name out there, right? What this does is it draws attention for the other counties to utilize this same strategy, right? To where now it could be more about, you know, an embarrassment tactic, to where now this is going to, you know, shield certain things, right? And they're really doing this, I think they're doing this in the trick angle, right? Because the trick doesn't want to be embarrassed, right? So that angle of embarrassment, because the charge is so weak, right? The charge is so weak, so they want to utilize that angle, that embarrassment moment angle, to, you know, shine a light on what they think is, you know, criminal activities, right? So this is awareness for the gentleman of the lifestyle to understand that when people push out these type of things, and we're going to play a little visual real quick. Matter of fact, let me get y'all to it. When these people play these little things, right, and they push it out there, you got to understand, other people take wind of that. Other people would take wind of that. And when they're speaking that type of language, especially, you know, it translates to, you got to understand, now they're checking ads. Now they're checking DMs, right? That's what an investigating is now. So now when the police is utilizing the investigation through the media, and then when they catch, you know, quote unquote victims through the media, when they catch victims by using the media, the internet, they're going to push it back out there through their own social media platforms to where now other counties can see it, right? As for just the local news, they say they doing the local news too. They doing the national news. They going to call the press over there, juice it up. And they're going to push it out in the social media world. You get what I'm saying? To where now all these content creators, all these people that want to, tether the game by making content of the game are going to find these articles just like we are. That's why I touch on it, because everything trickles down to where now the ones of the true lifestyle have to touch on it. We have to bring some awareness and understand the real play here. You get what I'm saying? So let's play this little video real quick. Then I'm going to get back into it.
Of the hundreds of people arrested in this operation, the largest group ever, the sheriff says, there was a man pardoned by President Trump in connection to the January 6th riot and 7 possible human trafficking victims. This is not Ryan Yates' first run-in with the law. He was at the Capitol on January 6th.
He entered the building illegally. He pushed against and battered police officers trying to get into the rotunda.
Yates pleaded guilty, then received a blanket pardon from President Trump. Sheriff Grady Judd says he tried to pay for sex with an undercover detective during a recent sting.
The state attorney is going to make sure that he's prosecuted. And think about this. He didn't resist us like he did the Capitol Police.
In total, detectives arrested 266 suspects accused of showing up to an undercover location to either sell or pay for sex, including Craig Long, a self-described MAGA influencer.
He moves in big circles, even with the president. This is a photograph with the president and his son not long ago.
So yeah, when I first seen this, I thought, I thought these gentlemen was getting caught how other gentlemen be getting caught lately, right? How other gentlemen been getting caught where they're trying to be a gentleman of the lifestyle. They're trying to do something of that nature. But reality is, these guys that they're getting caught with are, on the trick end. But because they're public figures, another angle that these people would do, because now they're public figures, right? Like this dude's a Trump. So you don't know if they're in the political field with, the Democrats or whatnot, to where now they want to put things on blast to where it's a politic angle. You get what I'm saying? It could be a politic angle too, because they're only really pushing out the big name things. But the 266, arrest is what really, really catches, the other media, the other counties' attention, right? Because now you got to understand that they're operating with technology. So within operating with technology, that means, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, ads, live streams, DMs, you name it. They all become, investigations and evidence towards moving forward. All because, and then what they're going to do is they're going to use their social media platform to compete with each other, with counties and things. As you can see it developing, right? You're seeing all these things coming. It's kind of being in a competitive, mindset within their world, to where it's like, oh, how many numbers is over here? How many numbers? Oh, It's like a numbers game. Kind of what remind me of was like COVID. When they push them numbers out, it scares people. It pumps fear into society. You get what I'm saying? To where now the ones that really live the subculture lifestyle, it's just awareness, right? It's just awareness. We already know what time it is, but when they do that, you got to understand now the stereotypes hang more heavier on the true gentleman of the lifestyle. You get what I'm saying? Now, the female of the lifestyle, she has to be, more aware of operations happening. You get what I'm saying? Whether it's on the internet, whether, on the lines or on the blade or wherever the field may be, it's a sense of awareness because they're playing a numbers game to where you know, they're utilizing the trick to up their numbers. You get what I'm saying? Because people are picking on, you know, and that's, you know, pat on the back to the true gentlemen in the lifestyle. You feel me? They done got low somewhere. So now, to utilize the numbers to push to the media, they have to bring the trick in. Even though it's a petty crime, they have to blast it on the media to make it seem like it's something, you know, big. You get what I'm saying? And then when they get some public figures, like the first white dude, he said, I guess he was around when, you know, them YT people, you know, did their thing over there in Washington, D.C. And then, so he, you know, they're trying to like, oh, he's somebody, but he's really nobody. You know what I'm saying? And then the other gentleman, he's just a podcaster. So it's a reaching tactic, but within that reaching tactic, it gives awareness to the other counties. And we in other counties, I don't even know if y'all in that county, man, but if y'all in that county, y'all better move around, right? If y'all in that county, y'all better move around. But it brings a sense of awareness to the other counties, to where now they might get in a competition mindset. And that's what's important to the ones in the game. You feel me? To where now we could trickle this information down to our game and let them know, hey, look, you feel me? It's a numbers game, man. I don't want to get caught in the crossfire. So you feel me? And the sting operation, you see over here in this county, they was using a female police officer as the undercover, right? But other counties might switch it, right? Other counties might, you know, in this. And then if you do campaign on the lines, you got to understand this is what they doing, right? To where you might try to campaign to the, you know, the female that's posting the ad or whatnot, and come to find out it's them people. And they not gonna let you know, but once you start, you know, mingling, they gonna catch on and be like, okay, let's play into this. This is what we're really looking for. And you might open up an eye, you know, a third, because I think it's coming. I've been saying this for years. Somebody's gonna open up the third eye to where they're gonna be like, oh snap, pimps be looking for girls on here. And they're gonna start, you know, it's gonna be a numbers game that way. To where they might not just use one. They might have a couple up there. You know what I mean? And I mean a couple, I mean, you know, 5+. Because it's a numbers game. You know what I mean? It doesn't necessarily take, they're going to learn. And this is what I be trying to tell people. See, when you come from, you know, the outside world and you know how to utilize being on the blade and things, that creates a divider from getting caught, because they have to go back to the old ways. It's fair game. We know the old tactics. You know what I mean? But when the internet is so new, you know, we don't know what's on the other end. We don't know what they got going on. They got more, you know, resources when it comes to utilizing, you know, playing the lines and, you know, cash apps and sending money and all of that things. You get what I'm saying? They got the banks that's on their side. They got the phone companies that's on their side. They got the hotels that's on their side. So it becomes a numbers game. So you want to understand that, you know, when within being in this lifestyle, especially if you really, really in it, right? Now, if you're not really, really in it, you know what I'm saying, you got to still with taking this knowledge, because now you tell yourself, well, shit, is it really worth it? You know? Okay, let's say a female does fuck with you. Is she going to really, you know, put you on? You know what I'm saying? Is she going to really understand what's come with this as you being the man in this situation and she being the woman? You know? You got to really ask yourself these questions, because they're going to start utilizing tactics, using this social media, using these hotels. You know, I seen another article. I don't even want to bring it up because it seems like, ah, damn. But they're going to put pressure on these hotels to tighten up. Let's just leave it there. I don't want to, you know, I be predicting a lot of things. I don't want to put this out there. But they're, for sure, I can see it, right? They're going to be challenging and meaning lawsuits and banning hotels if they don't start cooperating and start doing their due diligence as who comes in the room. Like, meaning hey, listen, we ain't telling you to be an investigator, but there's no more turning the other cheek. You get what I'm saying? So you got to keep those things in mind moving forward, right? Because, you know, ones would be like, oh, it's a hustle, quick hustle and this and that. And reality is it's a lifestyle, it's a longevity, meaning you can think it's a hustle on that first day or that second day. That hustle can put you behind bars. And you didn't get nothing out of it because you went in thinking it was a hustle. But if you going in thinking it's a lifestyle, then you're going to understand it's a marathon. You know, you're going to understand, let me keep my composure in certain situations.
Before you slide, press subscribe. Durable Minds, radio, logic apply. Hit the button, elevate your grind. High level conversation.